welcome back to our cozy little midnight run, or middle of the night run for RPGSU. I'm Crrool. I'll be doing Final Fantasy over the next 4 hours, as we are going to do all dungeons. Very cool little run. I'm gonna just get us set up, get my characters selected. We're gonna do Warrior, 2 Thieves, and a White Mage. We've got RPGSU, which is the big... Let me quickly name our characters. I think we should do some shoutouts in this. I'll name one after Scion for setting up the event. One to Lone, who I've seen a lot. And one to Noctis. Let's do Noctis. People all very important to this event, so I think it's fitting that they would be a part of our little run here. I think that's basically it. I'll do all the introductions once we've actually started. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are ready, we are starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. Welcome to Final Fantasy 1 All Dungeons. This is the PSP version, and the PSP version is very broken. I will show you that in just a moment, but right away I'm going to have to focus because I'm going to do some glitching here. And that's going to give us some very overpowered equipment. So, you will see in a minute that, yeah, FF1 PSP has a little bug in it, which allows us to have some very overpowered equipment very early on in the game. I'll explain how that works in a moment, once we're done with the menuing. But I'm just gonna do some shopping, get some stuff that I'll need for the start of the run. There we go. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let me actually introduce myself, explain the glitch, and we'll go from there. Hello everybody, I'm Crrool. I am a former speedrunner of many different RPGs, such as Pokemon, Final Fantasy, Lufia, which you'll see after this. Very cool run too. And several others. This is Final Fantasy 1. And Final Fantasy 1 is specifically the PSP remake 20th anniversary edition of the original Final Fantasy. And this one is also of all the... I don't love starting with a wolf here. I normally don't kill an encounter, we just try to run away, but in this case this might be faster. This is also the most broken version of FF1. You see, Final Fantasy 1 has this unique little glitch where if you go into the menu, you can actually get equipment that you're not supposed to get very quickly. And we just did. We just changed the... we just equipped a bunch of Knight's Armors, which is one of the most expensive pieces of armor in the game. It's very defensively bulky, but it does slow us down, so it's not great. We won't be using it for that long, but it is a great piece of armor. The way that it works is kind of funny, because what happens is, what I did is I bought a hammer, and I went into the equipment menu to equip the hammer, but at the same time I did, I swapped character. I'll do that here too with the helmet, the leather cap, and the weapon. And the thing is, I'm swapping between a armor slot, in this case the helmet, and a weapon slot, in this case the weapon slot. Or in the case of the hammer earlier, the hammer to an armor slot. And what happens then is that you actually load in the items of the weapon, but in an armor slot, and you get the corresponding ID, and that results in some very powerful equipment. And we will be using this to get some of the most powerful equipment in the game. Anyway, this is Garland. He's the first boss of the game. I haven't really explained much of the story yet, but basically, the light of the crystals has been dying. Because of that, disasters in the world. The land is starting to rot. The seas are raging. Any and all that, basically. Things are not well. Things are not good. So, we are the Warriors of Light, and we get tasked with restoring the light of the crystals. And that starts with rescuing the princess. And we just did. The princess was captured by Garland, and now that we've rescued the princess, everybody's happy again. We're going to talk to the princess because she's going to give us a loot. If you're going to be here all night, which, you know, kudos to you, I know it's late. You will see that loot pop up one more time later on in the run in about 3.5 hours. So, not anytime soon. But it is an important item, and in this version it's not missable. In earlier versions of the game, it is missable. Like in the NES version and the PSX version, you can just kind of skip that item, and then you get stuck at the end of the game needing to go back to talk to the princess of the very first quest that you get. As a reward, this bridge gets restored, and one of the soldiers will ask them, you know, well, no, what does this bridge have to do with anything? Well, the warriors, what does this have to do with the prophecy? And well, the warriors of light are here. They could have given us a ship, they didn't. Would have been nice. We are going to pass the bridge and we're going to get a little bit of lore on the story of FF1. We're going to kind of skip this. Don't really care. Not in every version can this be skipped. But in some versions, this can be skipped, and the PSP is one of them. So, now that the bridge has been restored, we have access to a little bit of new area, and we are going to use that to make our way to the second town, where we're going to aim to get a ship. We need to get to the 4 crystals, and all of them are in parts of the world that we can't access yet. So basically right now we're just kind of trying to create ways that we can navigate the world a little better. And that starts by getting ourselves a ship, which we will be using for quite a while. Quite a few encounters here, but none generally very hard to run from. And just as I say that, I'm failing to run from the lizard. Alright, this is Provoca. Provoca is has a couple of pirates running around. And these pirates, well, they should have a ship. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the Judgment Staff that we glitched earlier. And using the Judgment Staff, I will cast a spell. That spell is Flare. It is the most powerful black magic spell in the game. So, yeah, that makes very quick work of this boss fight. That was the second boss of the game. The pirates. Having now beaten the pirates, we get a ship for our trouble, and that now opens up just a little bit more of the map. We still can't get to any of the crystals, but you know, that's not really a big deal. In this ship, I could do a little mini game. If you hold the X button and then press the circle button like 20-something times or something, you unlock a little puzzle game. And if you beat it fast enough, you can get yourself a... I'm actually going to defeat these because this is a really nasty encounter to run from. You can get yourself a reward. If you beat it from 30 seconds to a minute, you will get yourself one of 6 rewards. And one of those 6 rewards is an emergency exit, which would save us about 2 minutes if we got it. However, it's a 1 in 6, and it takes 30 seconds. So, you know, mathematically, it's not worth doing. The town that we just got to, Elfheim, is the next location on our map. Elfheim has a problem where, through a curse, the elven prince has been put to sleep and is in like an eternal sleep. And we need to try and find a way to wake up the prince. And if we talk around to people, we will find out that there is this witch which can brew the Jolt tonic, which can undo the curse. Great, you'd think. Let's just go to the witch and that's that. Except the witch, well, the witch's eye has been stolen, so now the witch is blind. So we need to go grab the eye for the witch, a mystic eye, and, you know, that'd be great. Then we can just move on again. The problem is that this witch's eye is held by somebody being like an imposter who's trying to be an elven king, but he's secretly just an imposter. He's evil. And this evil guy, he won't fight us. He's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that unless you give me the crown. And, you know, that's what we're here to get. Because with the crown and the eye, he would be able to, like, rule over the land of the elves or something. So we're going to have to go down into the marsh cave, which is our next dungeon. And in the marsh cave, we have to go pick up the crown to give to Astos, which will then give us the eye, which we then give to the witch, which will give us the Jolt tonic, which will then, which we can then use to wake up the elven prince and progress the story again. That's kind of like the next 10 minutes or so of the run summed up. So this is the Pisco Demon. This is the boss. It's like a mini boss. This one's not technically a boss because we can find this encounter later on. But that is the Pisco Demons, and picking up this chest will give us the crown. We're making good time so far. This has been a pretty smooth ride so far. We are now going to walk out of the dungeon and go to Astos to hand in the crown and to get to fight him for the eye. As you can see, like right now at this point in the game, it's a lot of fetch questing, which we all need to do because I need to get access to the greater map. And I can't do that unless I manage to get some explosives to build a canal from the ocean that we're in into the vaster ocean of this world, which we will get to in a minute. Alright, well, we just completed our first proper dungeon, because that would be the last time that we go into the Marsh Cave. All of the other dungeons we've seen so far, well, the other dungeon we've seen so far, we will have to go back in, because we have not actually fully cleared it yet. But the Marsh Cave is now cleared. And as part of this being all dungeons, we do also have to clear the required ones. So this is the Western Keep. Not really much of a dungeon. And this is where we fight the Astos. We have given him the crown, and now we will fight him. The way we do this is I'm going to attack with every character except my mage, and my white mage I'm going to use to cast the flare spell. Unfortunately, we got a KO there on one of our characters. That is fine. Like, this is not actually a problem for us. It's a little annoying more than anything. Alright, we can now attack with everybody. That should be the kill. Right, I'll have to heal Scion back up here. And just like that, we get the eye that I was talking about that we need to go give to the witch. And we are going to be on our way to do that once we've revived our character here. I only wanted to use one potion, but it's very easy to overmash. That's okay. Alright, a lot of backtracking right now, because the witch is almost at the start of the game again. Now, one upside of being at this point in the game now is once we've finished our next little fetch quest, handed in the eye and woken up the prince, we are going to do another glitch menu again to get ourselves a piece of armor that ups my agility. And the reason we want to up our agility is because that actually influences the run chance. Because, as you might imagine, because we have just about the best armor in the game, there's not that much RNG in this game, except for the random encounters. There is no way for us to influence which random encounters we get, how many we get. We can't manipulate it. We don't know how good those encounters are going to be. So, for all intents and purposes, the only thing we can do is try and make sure that we get through those encounters as fast as we can. And in almost all cases, that means run away. because we want to run away from everything. So we can take a little bit of a shortcut. We're going to go past the... maybe I should have flared this. This is not a great encounter. If I don't run, I'll flare next turn. Part of why this encounter sucks is because of those gazes. It can paralyze me, and then, that character can't do anything. Okay. It's a little unfortunate that we have to do it this way. That makes this a very slow encounter. These Sahagins, they are really fast. They don't give any proper experience. They're really just annoying encounters. They're some of the worst in the early game. Later on, we'll be able to run from them no problem. Like, once I get the next piece of equipment, I will be able to run from these no problem at all. But until that point, this is how we have to deal with them. We can take a little shortcut under the bridge, and that gets us over here. And now we can continue our path to the witch. The witch Matoya. I guess while we continue on our little fetch quest, I can explain a little bit more about this category. So this is all dungeons, which is not an actual leaderboard category, but it is a spin-off of the all bosses category. So the 20th anniversary edition of this game has 5 bonus dungeons, 1 for every crystal, and then 1 for having completed all the crystals. And the more common category to do is called all bosses, where you beat all of the bosses of all of the bonus dungeons. The problem is some of the bonus dungeons have split paths, so some of them you have to redo multiple times. This is the eye, and then we get a Jolt Tonic. And the problem with that is that for one of those bonus dungeons, it is a bonus dungeon you have to do 4 times in total. Now, the dungeon only takes like 8 minutes. It's really not a very long dungeon, but because you have to do it multiple times, it's not as interesting for a marathon setting. And, because generally speaking, in most marathons, it's a case of the shorter the run, the more likely you are to actually get it in. For marathon purposes, we came up with the all dungeons category, which is basically just doing all the bonus dungeons just like you do in all bosses, except all of them are only done once. And that cuts about half an hour out of the all bosses category. And all of that half an hour is just basically redoing dungeons. So we shortened the run by about half an hour, 40 minutes, give or take. And all of that is just shortening how much time we spend in or redoing dungeons. I really don't like this encounter. The Sahagins are bad to run from. The Sahagin chiefs are no better. We've had really bad sea encounters so far. It'd be great if we could run. This has not been a great start yet. Yeah, that's kind of the concept of this game, of this run. Oh god. I forgot that the sharks were not going to be a one-shot just yet. As you can see, some of these encounters are kind of a pain. Like, I was a minute ahead of my comparison splits at Astos, and I've lost completely on the sea encounters here. Anyway, we finally made it to the Elven Castle. I can now wake up the Elven Prince, and as a reward, we will get the Mystic Key. And the Mystic Key will let us open up a bunch of doors that we couldn't open earlier. Yeah, that was a really bad Mystic Key. It took us really long to go from Astos to the key. which is fine. Like, these sort of things happen. But yeah, we get to pick up this mithril hammer, and using the mithril hammer, we can once again do the equipment glitch. Oh, I picked up a longsword somewhere. It's kind of annoying. Can I? Okay. Got a little lost in the menu there. Doing the glitch here is a frame perfect input for reference, so if you see me fail it a couple times, it is just that. It is frame perfect. Now you get to retry as many times as you want every time you fail, so it's not the end of the world if I do fail, but that's why sometimes you will see me struggle a little bit. Okay, we got the Thieves' Armlets now. I'm gonna go into town here because there's another item I want to pick up, and I want to sell off the armors because I need money. The gold needles are to restore me from petrification, which there are some encounters in the game that can petrify me. They're kind of a pain, so now we have a way to deal with them. Now, the Mystic Key did not just open up that piece of equipment, it actually opens up another item that I will need, which is, in fact, in the very starting town. So, you know, if they had just given this along with the bridge, it would have saved us quite a bit of time in terms of how long it would take for us to rescue, or to, like, save the world. Because in the storage room of the castle, there are two doors that are normally locked by the Mystic Key. It's these two, and in this one, we will find the nitro powder, which is the explosive that I was talking about earlier. Now with the nitro powder in hand, we are going to give the nitro powder to the dwarves, and the dwarves will then open up a pathway for us into the broader world, and pretty much give us access to not quite everywhere, but we'll be able to sail everywhere. Now, there are some parts of the world that you can't sail to, because you need to use some other mode of transportation for it. But at least it gives us some options, you know? We can go to a lot more places. Now, the crystals can kind of be done in any order, though the first one you have to do is always going to be the Earth Crystal. Because our next mode of transportation, which is going to be a canoe to sail through like rivers and whatnot, is always going to be locked by getting the Earth Crystal. This is where the dwarves are, Mount Duragar. Not technically a dungeon. I will not count this in the list of dungeons. And we will talk to the dwarves here and give the explosive nitro powder, which they will use to open up a little canal for us. So we actually get a little animated cutscene here where you see the canal open up. See the land tear in pieces, and there we go. Now we have a pathway into the broader world. That little whirlpool you just saw is one of those bonus dungeons, but we can't enter it yet. We need the water crystal first. Alright, that's another section done. We are now going to go to the next town, which is actually the town that will lead us to the Earth Crystal. We're going to go pick up the first crystal soon. But first we're going to do one more equipment glitch, this time for the best weapon in the game. And that is not just a figure of speech. The one that we will get, it's a PSP exclusive sword that you would normally... We will actually get one legitimately at the very end of the run, because it is the reward for the last bonus dungeon that we are going to do. You can only do this bonus dungeon once you've obtained every other crystal first. So we can't for a little while. But we can glitch it from the steel gloves. And that's just what we're going to do. Swap our little formation here. Alright. Now, when I say strongest sword in the game, let me give you an image of what we're talking about here. Have you ever heard of a weapon called Excalibur? Pretty strong, right? It is, I believe, the strongest base sword in the game. Like, the strongest sword that is in the base game. The sword we just got, the Barbarian Sword, has 3 times as much power, attack power, as the Barbarian, as Excalibur does. And it gives an additional 15 boost to our strength, making it not even close. The next best sword is just about 1/3 of the strength of the Barbarian Sword. Anyway, this is the next dungeon. This is the Cavern of Earth, and this is the dungeon where the Earth Crystal is. We are that close to our first crystal of the game, but we can't actually get there right away. We actually have to go in here, beat a smaller boss, pick up an item, leave the dungeon, then grab another item, and then go back for the boss. So we're going to do just that. I'm also going to use this as my opportunity to make my first safety save. The safety save there is because there are some encounters in this floor that can one-shot me. Specifically, the ones I'm afraid of are called the cockatrice. It's a pretty rare encounter, but if they attack you, they have a chance to just instantly petrify you, which counts as a kill. And if, you know, you can't run in time and they do that to all your characters, that's just a game over. And a game over would have me go immediately to the home screen. That's it. Run done. Not if we make a safety save. So you'll see me make safety saves a couple of times throughout the run. So this is the smaller boss that I was talking about. This is the vampire. This is where you'll get to see how strong this sword is. So this is the boss, right? That was the boss. That is the entire boss fight. We get the Star Ruby, and using the Star Ruby, I now have to walk out to go get the Earth Rod, because there's a slab on top of the stairs if we were to try and go a little bit further on ahead, which I can't do anything about that yet. I don't have the item to get rid of the slab. I gotta go pick that up. If you recall, earlier I mentioned there was a little mini game, and there was a 2-minute time save I could get by doing it, by getting the 1 in 6 item as a reward. The reason for that is that that item is the emergency exit, which instantly warps you out of a dungeon, and I would use it here to instantly warp us out of the dungeon to prevent us from having to backtrack. Unfortunately, we don't have that item right now, so backtracking it is. I'm just gonna have to walk out the old-fashioned way. Okay, at this point it would have been faster for me to just kill the Minotaur. Usually Minotaurs aren't that bad to run from. but we have been getting somewhat unlucky today. Mind you, this run's been quite slow up to this point. This has definitely not been very good yet, which is fine. Like, it isn't the end of the world if it takes a little longer. But we have been getting a little bit unlucky with the encounters. For reference, like this item that I'm about to try and grab, the Earth Rod, is usually I say, you know, if it's under 30 minutes, we've got a pretty decent run going. We are not going to get there under 30 minutes. It's impossible at this point. Because we actually do have one more cave we need to go through, which is the Giant's Cave. This is the shortest dungeon in the game. Assuming the encounters will let us run, we will not be spending a lot of time in here. But we do have to go through it both ways. And there's a giant blocking our path. And the giant loves rubies. That's why we had to pick up the ruby from the vampire. In this version of the game, the giant actually kind of just walks a pretty normal path back. Although then he kind of just disappears at the top and he just walks into the wall basically and he just disappears. In other versions, you see him walk through walls and it's kind of funny. We are not getting lucky with the encounters today. Like an 8 encounter ambush where everybody is just gonna get a hit off and then I'm not able to run right away. Well, like I said, 30 minutes for the Earth Rod is when you have a pretty okay pace going still. As you might imagine. Did not quite get that. This is the Sage's Cave. This is where we are going to pick up the Earth Rod. I'll talk to the Sage here. And just like that, we're going to head out, and we are going to now finally go for the very first crystal of the game. It is time for us to go fight the first major boss of the game as well. So the game, you can kind of split the boss fights up into major boss fights and minor boss fights. The vampire just now, that's a minor boss fight. It's not particularly strong. But there are some that are kind of just intended... Wow, I did not run from that? This is one of the easiest encounters to run from normally. Well then. But yeah, the next boss is I would argue the first major boss, and also kind of one of the only bosses in the run that can genuinely beat me. So yeah, if you ever want to pick up FF1, this is the sort of thing that's the frustrating thing about this run. FF1 is not a difficult run because you've got so much equipment to help you deal with almost everything. But encounters can just be like this. And unfortunately, that's just kind of a thing where encounters can just kind of decide to troll you and then you have a bad time. Alright, back into Cavern of Earth. Let's go and clear this this dungeon. One of the longest non-bonus dungeons in the game. My god, the encounter rate today is certainly something. Very telling is how much damage I've already taken from all the encounters. It's definitely quite a lot. Thankfully, the last of our characters actually ran away. Alright, Chat, I'm gonna have to go say this. If the encounter rate does not start improving at some point in this run, we are not going to get there in time. We are not going to meet estimate at this pace. I'll do 3 freeze and a judgment staff because... Okay, we did run, at least. Like, I am bleeding time due to, like, the fact that I keep getting, like, 8 encounters and ambushing me and then not running away, so they all get an attack off again. And our encounter rates in general been quite high today. I'm actually gonna potion a little bit here. So once again, I'm gonna make a quick safety save here. 33 minutes for this point in the run is really slow, by the way. This is that encounter that I was talking about that I'm a little bit scared of, but thankfully they did not get an ambush off on me. Alright, this is a cool encounter. So this is the ochre jelly. The ochre jelly is the rarest encounter in this dungeon. It is a 1 in 64 encounter. And for a long time, when I ran this, way back when, that was kind of like my encounter of, okay, if I see that, this run is blessed. So our run has been blessed by the ochre jelly. Maybe that means things will finally start improving now. We kind of do need them to a little bit. So this is that slab that I was talking about. We now use the earth rod to clear it, and that gives us access to the last 2 floors of this dungeon. Okay. Don't like this. So the Pisco demons here, kind of a pain because this is not a runnable encounter. The Pisco demons is one of the first of a set of encounters that is impossible to run from. It does not matter how much I try, I will never be able to run away from them. And that's why we are using the judgment staff there. So once again, I'll save because this is genuinely a boss that could kill me. This boss fight will be very fast because we have very overpowered equipment. This is the Lich, the one who's feeding on the Earth Crystal, the Fiend of Earth. He has a move called Blizzaga. If he does that, he could wipe my party in one go. He probably won't get an attack off though. Yeah, there we go. More often than not, he doesn't even get an attack off, but when he does, it's very scary. A 37.5 minute Lich is really bad. This is a really bad run. At least the first half an hour has been. There's plenty of run left, like it could still turn around. But the first half an hour has been really bad. Well, anyway, we once again, we light up the Earth Crystal, and with that we've now restored 1 of the 4 crystals. And we also get to have a tiny little cutscene here where we see the Earth Gift Shrine open up. That is the first of 4 bonus dungeons. Alright, now that we're out of the Cavern of Earth, this is kind of where we go from the early game to the mid game. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to pick up our next mode of transportation, the canoe. And with the canoe, we can get to almost every place in the game. In fact, we are going to use it to go into one of the dungeons that it's not an optional dungeon, but it is optional now. Like, we don't have to do it yet. To get access to our last mode of transportation, the airship, at which point we have access to every place in the game. Not every bonus dungeon will have opened up yet. Sorry, I'm a little frustrated about, once again, not getting to run. But once we have that, we can basically go to wherever we want to go next. Yeah, we have to do a bunch of sailing. We gotta go to the Crescent Lake, which is where a bunch of sages will tell us like a bunch of the lore of this, of what's been going on. And talking to one of them, if you go there before you get the crystal, they will tell you come back with the earth once you've blessed the earth crystal, and we will give you something good. Now that we've already done that, I can just go there, and we can get the reward, which will be a canoe. And a canoe is there for lakes and rivers. It also immediately opens up the path to the second crystal, the fire crystal, but we are not going to get the fire crystal for a little while. Alright, first and foremost, let me get a bunch of ethers. Actually, let me get a couple more. I always buy too few ethers, because 41 is what you buy in any percent. And I will buy the Mithril Axe. That is for another glitch menu coming up. And then this sage will give us the canoe. So, we're going to do another glitch menu, this time for the Black Garb, which will once again up all of my stats. Up our thieves around again. I can't equip the Black Garbs on my main guy, the warrior, because I don't have any character to go, like, that. No other character can equip the Mithril Axe. Which reminds me, I don't think I've even explained why this party composition. So, you might have noticed that we have a bit of a weird party composition of a warrior, which you would normally imagine to be quite good, to thieves, which is often considered one of the weakest classes in the game, and then to the white mage, which you might already be able to figure out why I would want a white mage. See, here's the thing. The ninja slash the thief is actually one of the best classes in the game if you are not limited by equipment. The ninja can or has the highest agility in the game, which gives it the highest chance to run from encounters, and it gives it the most amount of attacks it can do in a single turn. And because of that, the ninja can actually deal more damage than the warrior, except the warrior can usually equip much better things. Now, because of the glitch, I'm not bound by equipment, so that is why I do 2 ninjas. And their role is as my damage dealers. This, by the way, is probably the deadliest dungeon in the game, so I have to save there. The white mage is exactly there for what you would imagine the white mage is there for. It's there to heal. It is not more complicated than that. There are several bosses in this game, especially once we get to the bonus dungeons where I need healing. Very important. So, yeah, white mage. This is not a great start to this dungeon either. It's really slow when you get a bunch of these Pisco demons. So yeah, the white mage just there for healing. The warrior then, as not the strongest class in the game, is actually more there as our support character. It serves two purposes. Number one, it serves to help me soak up damage, because the top slot in the party has the highest chance of getting hit by enemies, and therefore it being in the top slot, it can soak up damage. The second, and arguably bigger thing it does, is it can equip more things, and because it can equip more things, it allows me to do the equipment glitch. For example, it is the only character in the game that at this point can equip these steel gloves, which I need to glitch my weapons. So it is genuinely just there to... okay, I gotta take a little bit of damage here. My health is a little high. This should do. So it is genuinely just there to soak up damage for me and to equip things on the other party members. It still does deal damage, and we will use it to deal damage for most of the run. But towards the end, it's just there as a support. At least for the final bonus dungeon boss, it's just there as a support. So this is the boss we grind on. We get Thundara right away. It's great. We actually need everybody to faint here for a little bit. See, what I want to do now is grind out the white mage. The white mage needs to get to level 33. I also need to grind out the ninjas, which we will do in a bit. So I'll actually revive them for... I maybe didn't need to do that just yet. Okay, this ought to do. The ninjas need to go up to about level 23. Or the thieves. We'll grind them to about level 23. And then... the white mage we will grind to level 33. I need to get those levels because of needing to learn certain spells, specifically on the white mage. The white mage needs to learn Hilaga, which is the most powerful AoE heal spell in the game, and it can only learn that starting level 33, and I want to be able to buy them pretty soon after this dungeon. There's not a lot of traveling around that we will do before we get Hilaga. So I need to make sure that our white mage is at level 33. And I need some levels on the ninjas just so that they don't die. So yeah, we're going to spend about 8 to 9 minutes, give or take 10 minutes here grinding. This is all of the grinding we will do in the entire run, except for maybe one thing towards the end, depending on the RNG. But this should be the main grind of the game. So, you know, chat, if you have any questions, now is a good time to ask. If you wanted to step out to go to the bathroom or get yourself a nice cup of tea, now is a great time for it, because we will be here for a little while. I like that this is a preemptive, because that guarantees that we can run. The reason we can keep getting this encounter is because this tile that we keep walking on, the center tile here, is what's called a spiked tile. A spiked tile is guaranteed to give you an encounter every single time. This one's spiked because this is a mini-boss, It'll show up as a random encounter later, but for now this is like the mini-boss protecting the cube that we picked up. The cube's called the Levy Stone. You know, basically that means that we can grind on this little mini-boss, and that puts us in a great position. Quite useful being able to grind on what is essentially a boss, because this one gives pretty solid experience for this point in the game. And the thieves are level 19 to 20 at this point. I might revive the warrior in a little bit to give it like 1 or 2 extra levels. It will help to have a little bit of extra experience on it. I might have been a little bit too fast killing off the party. But by keeping it at 1 HP, at least once I want to switch to just grinding out the white mage, I can. The reason we do this, by the way, is because experience gets split between the party members. So every party member that's fainted does not gain experience, and therefore that experience will go to the remaining alive party members. So by having just a single character alive, which we will have in a minute, I will effectively grind 4 times as fast than if I would have the whole party alive. I'll wait until the next level up, and then I'll revive the warrior. I'll do 1 level up on the ninjas with the warrior also alive, and then I'm gonna go for another Thundara. I just realized, like, I should have a little bit of level on the warrior as well. Otherwise, we run the risk that the warrior is going to be so underleveled that it can't survive certain hits. See, the thing is, certain bosses later on can deal a lot of damage. And I will need to have enough base HP to survive their attacks. That's kind of the biggest thing. Like, once I have enough base HP on everybody, I should be okay. Level 22 on everybody. Once we're level 23, I will heal Noctis, and we are going to let the rest take a little nap. Alright, we're level 15 and 23 now. Thundara immediately, that's great. So this is how we're going to continue our grind now. Now I'm just going to use the white mage, and my only goal now is to gain 10 levels with the white mage. Level 24 now. I need to get to level 33. $33 is the amount we need to be able to learn all of the spells that we need. Yeah, this is unfortunately just a grind we need to do. In any percent, we'd only need to grind to level 19. So the any percent grind's actually really, really short, because for any percent Hilara, which is 1 heal spell lower, would actually have been enough. But for the all dungeons, because some of the bonus dungeons are as hard as they are, we really do need the better heal spells. T8. Nine. 4 more levels to go. Thankfully, we do gain levels pretty quickly. I'll do a quick save at level 30 now. The random encounters here can really screw me over, which is why I'm taking it so slow. And why I'm taking several safety saves. We do, at the end of the day, only have one character alive at the moment. So if I run into like a cockatrice and they petrify my character, that's it. Mind Flayers can also one-shot me. White Dragons can be a pain. Dark Wizards can be a pain. There's a bunch of encounters that can be a real problem. 31. 2 more levels to go. About another minute of grinding and then we'll be done. I can revive everybody, heal everybody, and we can move on. Two. One more. I think this should be the last one. This or the next one. Yep, that is the last one. Heal everybody to full. Alright, with that out of the way, we are now done with this dungeon. We've obtained the Levy Stone, we've beaten the mini-boss many times. So now we can get out of here, and we are going to get our last form of transportation, the airship. Once we've gotten the airship, I'm going to go in what is technically our first optional dungeon. That being said, it is an optional dungeon, but because the reward for that dungeon is so good, even at any percent, you do that dungeon. Yeah, we're gonna have to canoe back to our ship, and then we can go pick up the airship. The advantage of our higher level is that now running becomes decently easy. We are now kind of caught up with where we're really supposed to be in terms of experience in the game. In fact, we're a little bit higher level than we are supposed to be, with the exception maybe of our warrior, who really is still quite underleveled. Level 15 is still quite low. The level 23, and then especially the level 33, is kind of a normal level at this point in the game. Which is great for us, because that means that now we don't really have to worry about encounters for a little while. We are going to be underleveled again later on, but at least for the time being, we're okay. We're gonna dock the ship here, we'll walk into the desert, and that will give us our airship. And just like that, we now have access to everywhere, really. We can't access all of the bonus dungeons yet because we don't have all of the crystals, but we can now get to any part of the map. And we are going to start by going to our next location, the Citadel of Trials. The way we do that is we just fly south here, and then we dock around here. One tile off, over here. This desert does technically have an encounter that can kill me, which is a little bit scary. But because we're so high level, the odds of it doing so and wiping my entire party are quite low. Fun little fact, in the finals, I think it was the finals of the so for a long time we held a little tournament for Final Fantasy 1. It was like we started it to like help boost popularity, and because it is a pretty easy speed game. And the little desert there has an encounter called the Sandworm, and the Sandworm has Earthquake, which has a chance to one-shot each of your party members. It can one-shot all of them. It's very rare. And I think in the finals of the first year's Final Fantasy tournament, that actually happened to my opponent. So this is the Citadel of Trials. This is the teleport dungeon. It's technically speaking optional, as in the reward is not required for beating the game, but the reward is good enough that you will always do this dungeon. In a very old route of any percent, we would actually skip this, and then at some point we experimented with like the things that we can get out of here. And one of the reasons this one's so good is because one of the rewards actually in any percent allows us to only grind to level 19 instead of what we used to do before, which was grind to level 33. So one of the reasons this dungeon saves so much time is because it saves about 6 minutes of grinding in any percent. For all bosses, we just need that item, otherwise we just don't heal enough, and therefore we can't beat the game. This is a really annoying encounter. This is the Nightmare. This is a guaranteed encounter. One of 2 guaranteed encounters in this dungeon. And we get the Healing Staff. And the Healing Staff is the first really powerful item. A really useful thing that we get here. The Healing Staff, when glitched, turns into the Lordly Robes, which is the armor that gives you the highest amount of intelligence in the game, and therefore can be used to significantly boost your healing capabilities. It's one of 3 things that we're trying to get here, by the way. A little unlucky on the encounters, as we have been most of the run. Okay. Encounter rate, can we slow down a little bit, please? So the second one here is the Gauntlets, which is a very good item in one of the bonus dungeons. We will actually use the Gauntlet as a use item, because the Gauntlet can be used to cast Thundara. Also, it can be used to glitch into the Golden Staff, which is another staff that really ups our healing option. And then the third item is right here, the Rat's Tail. The Rat's Tail is the item you need to be able to get a class upgrade, which we will get very soon. This is the mini-boss, the Dragon Zombie. Alright, that was not a great Citadel of Trials, but we are through here. And just like that, we are now going to go for our second crystal. But we have a little bit of side questing to do before we grab the second crystal. Specifically, we are going to get the class change. We are going to look into getting some spells. And we will have to get some items to set us up for the next dungeon. So a little bit of side questing to do, and then we will go to our next dungeon, which is the volcano. Mount Gulg. First things first, let's go get the class change. So there's the islands over here. This is the island I need. Really unlucky to get an encounter in those couple of steps there. That's quite rare. Yeah, one of those is the Dragon Caves. Now, the Dragon Caves don't really count as a dungeon, because there's no encounters, there's no bosses, there's nothing we can do here. But at the end of this particular Dragon Cave is Bahamut. And Bahamut, we need to prove we need to prove him that we are worth it, that we are worthy, and which we do by getting the rat's tail. And he will then give us the class change. The warrior now becomes a knight, the thieves now become ninjas, and our white mage becomes a white wizard. The two big things that we get out of this is the white wizard can cast a spell called Exit, which immediately warps us out of a dungeon. Very, very useful. The ninjas can get the spell Haste, which will allow us to do more damage. And then we just get a general stat increase, which is always nice to get. Now that we've done that, I'm going to have to park it here, because now we have another little side quest here. In the desert here is the caravan. And we are going to buy a fairy bottle. We're going to buy a bunch of giant tonics. Those tonics will be our stat boosting items throughout some of the bonus dungeon boss fights. And then we need it to be there because the fairy's bottle is required to progress the story. Specifically, we are going to go into Gaia, where we are going to release the fairy. If you recall the very first piece of armor we got, the knight's armor, this is the town that you would actually buy it in. That's how late game this is. I'm going to grab some cottages. The cottages are there for quick healing between the bonus dungeons. It's basically like an inn that we can bring along. Very useful. We talked to the fairy that we just released, and she will give us the Oxy Ale. We need this for the sunken shrine. This item allows us to breathe underwater. Now we are almost going to Merilith, but I'm going to make one more stop here. You might remember this is Crescent Lake. We've been here before. And that's because this is where we can buy Exit. Very, very useful spell. Which we will need... Wow. Okay, one step and immediately an encounter. Fun. Alright, let's go to the next dungeon. I don't have Ilara yet, which is a little annoying, because it would be nice in this dungeon, but I can just use potions for now. So Mount Gulg is a volcano, and here you can walk on the lava, and you will see me actually walk on as many lava tiles as I can. On the lava tiles, you can't get encounters. You take 1 HP worth of damage, but the trade-off is that you do not get any encounters, and that's great. We love not getting any encounters. I can just heal off the damage later. It's really not a big deal. We're almost at the boss. The boss is on the next floor. The Mount Gulg is, of the dungeons for crystals, is one of the quicker ones. I just want to put into perspective how good the All Bosses run is for a second. In my All Bosses run, the current All Bosses world record, I beat this boss in under an hour. So almost 10 minutes faster than this. Now this run hasn't been particularly good, but even then, because I think the record here beats it at 59 minutes something. Yeah, this is the boss. This is Merilith. Technically speaking, if the ninja here gets a crit, it can one-shot Merilith. A high roll crit on Merilith is a one-shot. Alright, 2 crystals down. 2 more to go. Once again, we're going to see one of the bonus dungeons unlock here. This will be for the Hellfire Chasm. Take the teleporter out, and we are immediately going to go towards our next location. Actually, I do have to make a quick stop before, don't I? Do I do that after? No, I can do it after. That's fine. Wait, hold on. I lost my way a little bit. No, okay, I'm in the correct place. This is where I need to be. It took me a moment. I took a little bit of a different flight path than I normally would, and I lost my way on the way a little bit. Not really a big deal. So this is where I'm going to actually use one of those cottages that we just picked up. And that gets us to Onrak. This is where I'm going to buy my heal spell. We get ourselves Hilaga. Oh, I'm actually just about out of money. Is that a problem? Not per se. We have a couple more spells we need to buy. They're not as expensive, so I should be okay. And I know where I can pick up some quick money. Or I can just sell some of the things. I actually have more than enough things to sell. So this is the Sunken Shrine. The underwater dungeon. The Sunken Shrine has the annoying part that it has quite a lot of unrunnable encounters. Specifically, it has the Sahagins. It has ghosts. It has water elementals, although a water elemental combined with a water naga is runnable. That is the exception to the rule. We also have to go through quite a few floors. This is a dungeon that we will enter twice, because first what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the right side here on the first floor, which will then lead me to where I can find the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone is an item that lets me learn a language instantaneously, and we will use it to learn Lufenian, which is like this ancient language that we need to be able to get an item later on. And then I'll exit out of the dungeon, I'll go to the left-hand side, and then we can go for the boss of this place, which will get us our third crystal, the water crystal. So we go all the way over here, and then this chest has the Rosetta Stone. So we will exit out of the dungeon so that I don't have to backtrack. I'll just go back into the dungeon from here. Had I had a black mage, I could have done this a little bit faster. Because the black mage / black wizard gets teleport, which just warps you back one floor. The problem is that that would mean that I'd have to sack a character slot that is now a ninja, and that makes it slower. In all dungeons, the ninja is more beneficial than another black mage would be. In any percent, I would actually use a black mage instead of one of the ninjas, specifically for teleport. Because I can learn teleport as a level 5 spell, whereas exit is a level 6 spell. So I'd have to grind more. Alright, we're now heading out to the next boss, but before we do, I'm gonna get a couple pieces of equipment, because this is actually the dungeon where we get most of our endgame armor. There's 2 pieces of equipment specifically that I'm looking for, although I'm only gonna pick up 1 here. No, there are 2 here. There's the giant's glove. This should kill, right? Level 33, surely. Right, it does. Although I did bring the strength drink, so I shouldn't need the giant's glove for anything, do I? No, I shouldn't need it. I can just grab the light axe. Come on. This is how this dungeon can waste a bunch of your time. Alright, I'm going to use the light axe to convert into survival vests, which is our last major equipment upgrade. That is on all characters except the white mage, where I'm actually going to give lordly robes. The lordly robes are there to boost my intelligence and therefore my spell damage and spell healing as well. More importantly, the spell healing. I will give the other characters a lordly robe later as well, because the lordly robe does have one other major benefit. A lordly robe in your armor slot will give you regeneration, passive healing. The problem is that it has a little animation, so right now it's not worth it. But as we get to the really difficult bosses, it will be worth it. The encounters. The encounters are something else today, man. They're really something else. Anyway, this is the floor where we will meet the Kraken, which is the next major boss of the game. That was a nice stretch without any encounters. Not going to be enough to compensate for the bad encounters we had, but I'll still take it. So this is the Kraken, the third crystal boss of the game. This one's for the water crystal. Once again, as you can see, not a difficult boss at all. Still very easy. 3 crystals down, 1 more to go. And we are actually just going to go pretty much straight for the next one, I think. I'm not sure if we do the next one or if we do the first bonus dungeon first, actually. Right, we see the next bonus dungeon unlock here. This is the Life Spring Grotto. The water bonus dungeon. And with that, we have access to all but 2 dungeons now. We have 2 more dungeons we need to unlock. First things first, though, we're going to go out and we are going to go into the cave with the highest encounter rate in the game. There's actually a fun little story about this cave. So, many years ago, I was a leaderboard mod at the time for Final Fantasy. We found there was a little cheat code that somebody had attempted to use, at least. And it basically resets your encounter rate to as if you just had an encounter. That's all it does. So that makes your encounter rate really low, so this run was a very, very fast run because of it. Except in this dungeon. Because this is the dungeon where the value of getting an encounter on the first tile after you just had one is the highest in the entire game. So, you know, every dungeon had insanely good encounter rate, and then this one was very normal all of a sudden, because in this one it doesn't really change much. It was one of the telltale signs of that particular cheat code, that you would have a really, really good encounter rate in every area except for one. And this would be that one area. I'm gonna make a safety save in front of this door. The chances of dying to the encounter here are near 0. It's really not that bad an encounter, but it has been a little bit since I've saved, and this is an encounter that can kill me, in theory. You know, our last safety save was during the grind, so... This is what I mean with I know where I can get some quick money. We grab the ribbon, and then we grab the warp cube. Okay, next is actually the bonus dungeon. Before we do, though... I'm going to do another equipment glitch. Specifically, we're going to glitch the ribbon. The ribbon does not actually give us very many defensive benefits, except the ribbon gives us immunity to every single status effect in the game, and it boosts our magic defenses by 50%. So it's a really useful item defensively in just surviving, really. Now, this is, you may have noticed that up to this point, I've never equipped anything on the armor slot, and that is because almost every piece of equipment that you would equip on the armor slot would soft lock the game if it tries to pull up the shield animation. See, the shield has a little animation, and when it tries to pull that up, I went a little bit too far. It's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here, and then it soft locks the game. Ilara... Life... Except the ribbon does have an animation. It happens to be the animation for a sword, but that's okay. So we're going to talk to this guy. He's going to teach us Lufenian. We need that to progress the game a little bit further. Yeah, that's why we can safely equip this on the ribbon. It's one of the very few pieces of armor that you can actually equip on the shield slot. Because it's otherwise a wasted slot, it's especially useful being able to just put something on there that gives me a bunch of immunities. Immunities and resistances. Right, we go in here. I need to learn haste. And then we're going to make our way to the first bonus dungeon, the Earthgift Shrine. Earthgift Shrine's the shortest bonus dungeon. It's not even close either. And it is like the cool thing about the bonus dungeons in this game is that they have bosses from the other Final Fantasy games in there. Specifically, Earthgift Shrine has the bosses of the Final Fantasy III Dark Crystals. Another thing about the bonus dungeons that's worth mentioning, the bonus dungeons have a particular little mechanic. It's not going to be that interesting for this bonus dungeon, but more so for the others. The order of the floors in the bonus dungeon is random. I will not know in advance which floor I'm getting next. On top of that, the spawns of every floor are random. So there's a lot of randomness in this dungeon. So I also, especially on a floor like this one, you know, the desert, I have no idea where I spawned. Okay, I found a path now. So as I'm in the dungeon, I'm just kind of having to figure out where I spawned, and then from there, how do I go? Especially in this dungeon, the only one where that really affects me is on this desert floor. Because one of the dungeons has a static spawn, and then the other two, or one of the floors has a static spawn, and the other two are both really, really short. The idea of this particular place is you will find a palm tree, and those palm trees, they have little arrows. And those arrows point you into the direction that you need to go. Okay, we're almost at the end of this one. Remember that I mentioned the gauntlets earlier? This is the floor that we're really going to use it. This floor has a bunch of required encounters. And we need to defeat those encounters in order to be able to progress. So I'm going to do that. And the gauntlets are a very quick way to do it. The animation's faster than that of the Judgment Staff, and it kills everything here. It is a little unfortunate that it seems my white mage's agility isn't high enough to quite outspeed them for sure. That's a little annoying, but we're just gonna have to deal with it. This forest floor is, in my opinion, the most boring floor in the bonus dungeons. In all of them, combined. Now, the one advantage of all dungeons over all bosses is that we only have to do it once. This particular bonus dungeon, and by extension this particular floor, has to be done 4 times in all bosses. We have a couple more encounters that we have to do here. The next floor will be the boss. And then I have a choice to make. There are 4 bosses I can fight. Echidna, Ahriman, Two-Headed Dragon, and Cerberus. Now, in this category, in all dungeons, I will pretty much always go for Ahriman, because Ahriman gives me by far the best reward. Ahriman gives you a Mega Elixir, which is an item that, when used, will instantly heal all MP and HP of every party member that is currently alive in the party. So it's a great emergency heal in some of the really hard boss fights of the game. There's not that many of them, and they're kind of hard to get, but this particular dungeon does have one. And it is the slowest of the 4 boss fights because he has the most HP, but the boss fights here are not that hard. I want to say it's 2 more. Maybe even just 1 more. This should be the last one, and then we can go to the boss. Oh, I actually do have 1 more floor to finish, but like I said, it's this is a really short floor. There we go, that was the entire floor. Okay, Ahriman is in the top right, so that's where we're gonna go. And I hope you guys like the FF3 boss music, because we are gonna get a little treat here. As you can see, he does not do a particularly high amount of damage here. And that's the boss fight. We get a dry ether and we get a mega elixir. The mega elixir you can only grab once, I think, but the dry ether you get permanently. You get every time you beat it. All right, just like that, we are done with Ahriman, and we can go pick up the next item of the game, which is the chime. For what it's worth, Freddy, I've got my eye on the stream as well, so in case you still want to rest for a little bit, I should still have you covered for another, like, 2 hours. If you can do the setup after me, that's great. But, you know, if the stream crashes, if something happens, like, the stream PC is right next to me, so I'll be over in, like, restarting the stream takes me, like, 10 seconds. It hasn't happened yet. But, you know, figured I'd let you know so you can just take it easy today. At least for the next 2 hours. Yeah, if you can pop in when you're about done, or when I'm about done, that'd be great, because I'm not great at the setups, and, you know, it is already 5 a.m. here, so I'll be happy to be able to go get some sleep. Wait, what do you mean restart Chrome? Like on your end? Okay, this is a really annoying ambush, because this is going to take so much time to get rid of. I was like, oh, you know, that was actually a good chime. That was a gold chime. And then I get that encounter. I just figured I'd mention it because, like, at least until, like, the last 20 minutes of my run. Really bad chat lag, I see. Yeah, until, like, the last little bit of my run, I should be able to cover if anything happens. If you can do the transition after me, that'd be great. Last time me doing a setup went so poorly that I had to wake up Scion in the middle of the night. Now, admittedly, Note CG had crashed, so it wasn't really my fault, but even still. Alright, just like that, we are through. We've got the chime. We need the chime to be able to enter the next dungeon, which is this tower in the desert, the Mirage Tower. So what's happening in the story now is we're going to try and get the last of the 4 crystals. To do that, we need to clear 2 dungeons. So we get a little 2-for-1 here. First, we go do the Mirage Tower, which in and of itself isn't a particularly bad dungeon. It's 3 floors. They're usually pretty quick. This is a pretty big floor, but there's no unrunnables except for 1, and it's a very rare encounter. And then after that, we get to go through the Flying Fortress, which is where the last crystal is located. Once we're done with this dungeon, basically it's all bonus dungeons left. We've only cleared 1 of the bonus dungeons at this point, so we are still going to have to do a fair bit of traveling around to do the others. Chimeras are not unrunnable, but these are the hardest ones to run from. Hellhounds should be fine. This is the mini-boss of this dungeon, the Blue Dragon. And just like that, we can move on to the Flying Fortress, which is the next dungeon. Once we've beaten this dungeon, we can in theory go and beat the game. This is the last required dungeon I need to do outside of the final dungeon. But we still have 4 more bonus dungeons to clear before I do. We have Hellfire Chasm, Whisperwind Cove, which will unlock as we beat this one, Lifespring Grotto, which is already unlocked, and Labyrinth of Time, which is the final bonus dungeon, which will also unlock once I've beaten this one. And those are all pretty lengthy dungeons, mind you. We are far from done. Like in case anybody's like, oh, it's only like 5 more dungeons. Yeah, but those dungeons are long. They're really long. Whisperwind Cove, for reference, is 40 floors. Labyrinth of Time takes half an hour at least. I say at least, but the record is like 19 minutes. But that's with better grinded characters. Air elementals are a little annoying to run from, so I just hope I can run from this. Okay, Noctis, don't let me down here. Okay, great. I'll make a safety save here, because there is 1 encounter here that is a little bit scary. The Flying Fortress 5th floor has a 1 in 64 encounter called the War Mech. We are not guaranteed to see it here. Very unlikely, in fact. If we see it, it's actually great because it is the highest experience giving encounter in the game. So it would give us a couple of extra levels, but it's not... It is very scary. It can deal a lot of damage. Anyway, this is Tiamat, the last crystal dungeon of the game. That was Tiamat, the last crystal dungeon of the game. Crystal boss of the game. Alright, we've unlocked all the 4 crystals. We have now blessed all of them, which means we now have access to every single dungeon in the game. As in, we can go and clear every single remaining dungeon in the game. We are going to start with the Hellfire Chasm, which is usually one of the faster ones, but there is one very scary floor. The way Hellfire Chasm works, it has 10 floors. There's a boss on 5 and there's a boss on 10. Now, the bosses aren't particularly scary. We'll get through those, no problem. There is, however, one floor that can have 3 different layouts. And 2 of those layouts are really fast. They'll take like 30 seconds and a minute, respectively, to clear. One layout is incredibly long. If we get that, that's like 3 minutes down the drain instantly, and there's nothing I can do about it. So we really hope not to get that one. If we get that one, it's going to start getting a little dicey if I can actually meet estimates. There's still a lot of game left, so a lot can still happen even after that, but yeah. Remember the caves here with the Bahamut that we saw earlier? Well, this is where Hellfire Chasm is. This one unlocked when we beat the fire dungeon. Much like the other ones, but probably more... it has a bigger effect here, is that once again, the floors that we get... It's always the same floors, but the order we get them is random, and the spawn points is random. So a big part of this dungeon is figuring out where you start, and then being able to navigate to the end of the dungeon, or to the end of the floor as fast as you can from that spawn. And these are really the dungeons where the difference is made between good runners and great runners, because a good runner may know exactly which floors there is, but might not be able to pick up on them right away. A great runner would be can identify most spawns very quickly and navigate to the stairs from there very quickly. I used to be able to do that with almost every floor. I have gotten a little rusty since, so you might, like in this one, see me sometimes take a wrong turn somewhere. Oh no. Oh no. No, no, no. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to open up the map of this one, because this is the bad one. Oh boy. Chat, we're gonna be here for a while. Oh, I need to heal. So this is the bad one. Remember that I said that one floor has 3 layouts? One of them is, or 2 of them are good and one of them is really bad. Yeah, this is the bad one. And yeah, Drossi, you're not wrong in saying this is a potential run killer. If this had been if this isn't even an official category, but in a place where you're trying to get a record, yeah, this would potentially be considered a run kill. It's an instant 3-minute time loss. And there is very little I can do about it. See, you have to navigate to the exit on this world map. And with most of them, you can just go to the exit right away. In one of them, it is a matter of just walking to it, basically. There's walking and a little bit of canoeing. One of them, you have to... yep, that should be good. One of them, you have to do a little bit of sailing as well. This one, you have to get the airship. So you first navigate to the ship. You then navigate to the pirate. I'm gonna have to use the judgment staff here. You navigate to the pirate. You then have to navigate to where the airship is, unlock the airship, which has a whole little animation which takes 30 seconds by itself already, and then you fly to the exit. All the while, the encounters on the sea can be unrunnable. Every other part you can run from them, but in the sea, that's not guaranteed either. Yeah, this This suddenly makes it a little dicey if I'm gonna meet Estimate today. We've had a really bad run so far. It can still happen, mind you. I can... Like, there are some dungeons where if things go well, I can catch up a little bit again. I have to go around the mountain. Yeah, we have to go to this palm tree. You get the, like I said, you get this whole animation which takes like 30 seconds of unlocking the airship. This is the only map where you need to unlock the airship. Only to then fly like 20 tiles with it, because the exit is right here. All right, chat. Let's go do the next boss. We're gonna go for. We've got two fire. This is the Final Fantasy IV bosses, by the way. It's the Elemental Fiends. We have the option here between Cagnazzo and Milan Z, or Scarmiglione, or whatever it's called. The reason we go for this one is that the other one's 2 back-to-back fights. So this one's a little faster because of that. Come on. So this one also has 3 spawns. That is the worst spawn. I actually managed to... get in there pretty quickly. The walking into the correct spot there is only a couple of frames. It's so common to miss it. And then when you miss it, you just kind of end up walking back and forth, and it sucks. There's some flashy tiles here you might have noticed. Those flashy tiles are where the random encounters are. I want to try to avoid them. Alright, this is a static floor. I know exactly where I am. I know exactly where to go to the exit now. In terms of bonus dungeons, this is not my least favorite. I think my least favorite is Earthgift Shrine, just because of the floor with so many encounters. In fact, usually Hellfire is one of my favorites. The problem with Hellfire is just that if you get the Bad World map, it's such a time sink. You can just lose so much time due to getting a Bad World map. Don't love the ambushes here. Well, after this we should have 2 more lava floors if I'm counted correct. And then we can just make our way to Barbarisha. On the last floor here, we have the choice between Barbarisha and Rubicante. We do Barbarisha just because it's closer. The fights are about equally long, but Barbarisha is a little easier to get to. Alright, it's this floor. We actually got the good spawn on this one. So that's nice, but... Dark Elementals I should be able to run from. Yes. Yes, I can. Death elementals you can't, dark elementals you can. I can run from the Silver Dragon, but the experience is actually kind of worth it. Alright, we made it to floor 10. I can go fight Barbarisha. Sub-estimate is still possible. It's definitely going to be a little bit closer to estimate than I would like, but... Okay, it's actually... Okay, so Lone already has enough MP that it can use haste, which is great. At least I have one character that can use haste. The ninjas only start gaining MP after you've done the class change. So it isn't always guaranteed that they get enough MP that they can use haste when you start needing it. Knowing that at least one of them can is quite useful. This is gonna hurt. Oh, that hurts more than I expected. Okay, thank God. That actually did more damage than I expected it would. Well, this is why I got the cottage. Alright, next stop is Whisperwind Cove. We do Whisperwind Cove next, and Lifespring last. That is by design. Lifespring is kind of a pain. Did I go too far? Wait, hold on, where is this? It's this way. It took me a moment to figure out where I was. Well, that's on me. My pathing being a little off sometimes is just because I'm a little bit rusty. I did do a practice run before this, but I didn't, like, spend too much time derusting. Alright, Whisperwind Cove, here we go. The bosses in Whisperwind are a little bit more doable. There's one really tough one, though. The black-haired kid. Okay, the black-haired kid's great. That's the easiest one for me to navigate to. Maybe this way. So just like in the other ones, the layout of the dungeon is you have a bunch of random floors with random spawns. All of the floors are in a random order. This dungeon has 40 of them, where only the floors ending in 0 have a static... Like, those are guaranteed. Those you always know which one you're at. Every other floor, random spawn. Random spawn, random order. So that makes this probably one of the hardest dungeons to navigate, especially if you're a newer runner to this, because there's so many floors and spawn combinations that you can get, and key to this is being able to recognize those quickly. Yep, this one. Which so far we've managed on the first few, which is good. That's definitely not a guarantee. I'll recognize them a lot of the time, but I won't always. So every time I do recognize one immediately, that is good. And I need to try and make a mental note of which ones I've had, because that will help me eliminate some of the options for the other dungeon, or for the other floors. So for example, the Flying Fortress floor that you just saw, there's like 6 of them. So I have to make a mental note of the one that I already got to ensure that I don't try to go for that exit or think that one of the other ones is that one specifically. The ambushes are a bit of a pain, but I'm actually kind of glad that I've gotten this floor now. This is one of the longer floors, and later on the encounters here can be quite a bit more annoying. Like right now it's annoying that I've gotten 2 ambushes on this floor, but I just kind of have to get this one out of the way. I'm not sure about this one. I didn't immediately recognize which floor this is. There's like 5 or 6 different ice type floors as well. I think I know which floor this is, but I could be completely off, in which case I'm going into completely the wrong direction. Because it's either at the top or it's at the bottom right. I'm going into completely the wrong direction, aren't I? It's okay if that happens. Yeah, I am. It's okay if that happens on some floors. Some of them you're just not going to recognize right away because you get a weird spawn that's quite uncommon, or, you know, something along those lines. And that's kind of what happened with this floor. I just got a weird spawn that I'm not used to. Some spawns I'll recognize right away. And then there's a few where I'm just not sure. Yeah, I went the wrong way. It was the bottom right. I should have checked in hindsight. I just wasn't familiar with that spawn. Not familiar enough, at least. Well, this one I know. This one you always have the same spawn, so it's very easy. Very recognizable floor. Ideally, I would have had this one later, because right now the encounters are still not that strong. But I can work with this. It's fine. Pretty sure I know which floor this is. I also think we got the worst possible spawn. We got in a fair few worst possible spawns already. I'm just kind of realizing that our spawns have not been great today. It should be on the left here. Yes, it is. At least this one I know immediately. See, this is what I mean with there's more ice-type floors. This one I know where it is. It's to the left of me here. That spawn I recognized immediately. And that's kind of the thing with this dungeon, right? Like, a lot of it is just down to, do you recognize the spawn? Do you know how to navigate to this floor from to the stairs from this one? So far, one floor where I didn't manage to, which could be worse. should have maybe saved before this boss. This boss isn't particularly threatening. But it wouldn't have hurt. Oh, I have life, so I should be okay. Snort can one-shot a character. It's not that likely to hit, but when it does, it will one-shot a character. Other than that, this guy doesn't really do much damage at all. So we're just gonna beat him up. Yeah, welcome to the FF6 bosses. We've kind of skipped over the FF5 ones. This is what I mean with it'll one-shot. The FF5 ones we'll get to. Not relevant for right now. First we do the FF6 ones. We got some good floors out of the way in the first few floors already, so at least there's that. Phoenix down. Right, moving on. Okay, this is one that I really would have liked to see later, because this floor is completely free. That's to the left of here. That's a good spawn, though. Not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure I'm going the right way. Yes, I am. To the left here. And then down. At least I didn't go the wrong way here. I wasn't 100% sure that it was this floor, but I was certain enough that I didn't go into the wrong direction at least. There's a whole section to the right on this floor, if I'm not mistaken, that you can walk into. There we go. This is a floor that you can lose a lot of time on. If you think that you have to go to the left and you have to go to the right instead, horrible. Alright, I love the beaver floor. I love all the little beavers. Here you have to sort beavers. The guy will tell us how many to the left, how many to the right, and we just do that. 3 to the right, 7 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come on, beaver. I will not say the number. If you know, you know. I'm a teacher, I get that meme way too often, still, to this day. One more. Okay, that should be it. That's to the right and then down. That's to the... Oh, it's bottom left. Bottom right. It's not top right. Top. There's 2 lava floors. I thought it was the other one. That's okay. These are quick floors either way. Not 100% sure right away. Okay, it's the other way. I know where I am now. This is the top one that I was thinking I was in earlier. I should have realized because I already had that other one. But I figured it out pretty quickly, so it's okay. Okay, this one I'm gonna have to focus for a minute. This is a fetch quest. Okay. And I gotta keep track of which one, who wants what. So autograph, key. We go down here. This one gives us the first item always. That's the only one that's in the same location every time. tools. No. Not sure. Oh, that's the tools. The other one's the pickaxe. Okay, that's easy to remember. That'll be the last one. Ocarina. Okay, there's only 2 left that I haven't spoken to. Wait, hold on, it's the one up here. I'm getting them mixed up already. Is this the cogwheel then? No, this was the key. This is the cogwheel. Pickaxe. Autograph. Where are you? Why are you all the way up here? Which is brew, which should be at the bottom here then. Right, we're almost at the end of this. Key. I already did this guy. It's this one. This room. So the order that these characters are in is completely random. Can you go out of my way, please? Thank you. But it's all just a matter of remembering, okay, who wants what, which texts belong to which item, and then going from there. And we did okay on that. We did okay. It's been a little bit since I've saved, so I'll make a safety save here. Oh, I still need to heal. Let me not forget to do that. Lara, there we go. This is Ultros. Ultros is a pretty easy fight too. Certainly, I think this is... arguably, this is the easiest one in this dungeon. After this, we'll get to the hardest one. I love that even though they've been blinded, it doesn't really diminish how much damage they do at all. Alright, that's Ultros. 2 bosses down, 2 more to go in this dungeon. We also got the Rune Staff, which is a great item for later on. Is it up here? Yes, it is. Is blind as ineffective as it is in the NES version? Probably, yeah. I'm not sure if it's because of our equipment or if it's just as ineffective as it is in the NES version. Blind usually doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot. Like, accuracy certainly still does something, but exactly how it affects accuracy, I'm not sure about. I know my way around this floor. This one should be fine. So once again, it's kind of a case of now we gotta navigate more floors. The good thing is that we've already kind of gotten rid of a lot of the bad ones. Oh, I don't like this ambush. Poison eagles are quite annoying to run from, and them ambushing me with 8 of them is kind of a pain. Okay, we did run quickly at least. Okay. It's this way, and then at some point I gotta go to the left here. Yes, bottom, then left. It's the worst possible spawn on this floor, but at least I knew immediately where I was. And that's kind of the key, right? As long as we know where we're going. It's your biggest possible time save here. Whisperwind Cove. It's this one. Okay. I think I know where I am. This is a spawn that I don't see that often, so I'm not as used to it, but it should be up here. That's to the left here. That's the best possible spawn. This is at the bottom, right? I believe it's bottom right. I hope I'm not wrong on that. Otherwise, I'm wasting a lot of time. Yes, it is. It is bottom right. This one might actually be unrunnable. I'm not sure. Is it? Yeah, I was about to say, I think this one might be unrunnable. I'm kind of in my head trying to go over which floors have I not yet seen. There's still some floors here and there, of course. This is a nice and easy one. Okay, this one's in the center of the room, so this one's very easy to navigate to because there will only be one path. Alright, we're coming up on the hardest boss fight in this dungeon, by far. We are coming up on the Phantom Train. The Phantom Train has some really, really strong hits and can one-shot my party. So this is the first boss fight that will genuinely require a bit of setup. And in fact, I'm going to equip some lordly robes. And we can't even suplex the train, yeah. Very true. So the Phantom Train, the one good thing about this fight is that he has very little health. We're going to use some Giant's Tonics to buff my total HP. Wait, hold on. I gotta do this smarter. Giant's Tonic. Giant's Tonic. Ilaga. All of those went off. That's good. Did not get the heal before he used Acid Rain. This is what I mean with he is really, really strong. Sometimes the heal will be faster. Nope. Phoenix down. Ilaga. Okay, this is good. At least I can get another character back alive now. Phoenix down on this one. I can attack here and Ilaga. I gotta start whittling down its HP. We really want the heal to go off right away now. Or, yeah, I was gonna say, or have a direct attack, which would actually be better now that I think about it. Okay, this is good. Now we're in a position where I can win. At this point, the fight is winnable. We've gotten through the worst of it. I'm gonna use haste to increase my damage output. And because the boss only has 10,000 HP, so... And it is worth noting that getting a first try on this boss actually does put me back in sub-estimate pace. It was a little dicey earlier. The reason it does is because my comparison splits, this fight went horrible. Okay, that was a very solid Phantom Train. I would not be surprised if that's a gold split. It's not. It's actually not. Now I do have to do a little bit of equipment because I don't want to keep the lordly robes just yet. So we're gonna go back to the survival vests. Alright, Phantom Train done. That was a really solid Phantom Train. And I'm very happy that that went as well as it did. Okay, this one's at the top. Somewhere. Over here. This one's to the right. That's the good spawn. Instinctively on that floor, I actually wanted to go to the left. Then I realized, wait, hold on, I can't. I've already had the other floor where it looks a little bit like that. I should have recognized immediately. Good spawn to the right. I will say this Whisperwind, like, of all the places that have gone, like, most of the dungeons have been going quite poorly. Whisperwind's been going really well so far. I feel like there's only been 1 or 2 floors where I really didn't know which way I was going. Which on the dungeon with 40 floors really isn't bad at all. In this one, in this particular floor, we have to talk to all the spirits. 2 of them will be boss fights, but they'll be boss fights from very early on in the game, so they'll actually be really, really easy because of it. Like Astos here. Very easy fight. This is the other one, the vampire. Like I said, very early on in the game that we beat those. And even then they weren't hard, so... They're certainly not any more difficult now that we're quite high level. And after we clear the last one, the stairs will open up. Oh, right, we still had this one. Well, this one's an easy floor. This one has a static spawn. You always spawn in the center. You always have to just walk down. There's a couple of revenants we might have to beat along the way. These are not difficult encounters. These are great floors to get in the 31 to 40. So the game, because they're randomly random order, sometimes you will get very easy floors at the end, and sometimes you will get very difficult ones at the end. And that does make a difference because the encounters are different in the early floors compared to the later ones. So the further we get, the harder the encounters become. So getting easy floors at the end is usually a good thing because it means less, or like fewer bad encounters. And then in a full bestiary run, which is another category, it's kind of annoying. Like you can actually miss encounters because of it. But thankfully, we don't have to deal with that. Okay. That's another easy one. This one's fine. This one we just have to look for 2 parts, 2 robot parts. They can be on any of these little robots. But there's no encounters on this floor, so this is honestly fine. Okay, that's part number 1. And part number 2. That was actually pretty quick too. Okay, this one we just go around and then to the top. Yeah, I knew I still had this floor left. So I knew we were going to get this one at some point. This one isn't great to get at the end because it is quite a long floor. So a lot of opportunities for annoying encounters. But at the same time, I know the path at least. I'm trying to think if off the top of my head I can think of which is the one remaining floor. The one for 39. I don't think I can think of it, which might mean it's just one of the generic floors. Double ambush. Well, that's okay. Either way, I'm happy with how Whisperwind Cove went. For a dungeon that can genuinely be one of the harder dungeons in the game. Probably second hardest dungeon in the game after Labyrinth of Time. This might be unrunnable now that I think about it. Okay, it's not. Oh, it's this one. Okay, top right. Makes sense. I had indeed not had this one yet. Well, that gets us to the boss floor. So this is where we have Death Gaze. Death Gaze isn't a particularly strong boss. The main problem with Death Gaze is just that it has a lot of HP. So it just takes a while to whittle down its health. Noctis should be fast. It should be slower, so I should be able to do this. Just want to get some hastes up so that I start dealing a little bit more damage. As you can see, Death Gaze does do some damage to me, despite my high defenses, but not that bad. Attack. Like, I'll throw in a Healara every once in a while to heal up, or a healing staff, something, or a rune staff. And that way we can keep our health quite high. Alright, the conclusion of this dungeon will be that I've actually caught up a few minutes again. And I went from basically exactly on estimate pace to like a few minutes ahead pace again. Still gonna be dicey. There's some tough dungeons ahead. So we still have 3 more dungeons to go after this. Lifespring Grotto, which is another really tough one, was Labyrinth of Time, arguably the hardest one. And then the final dungeon, which is just kind of a victory lap that we have to do. We're still good enough on health, so I can just do another round of attacks. I'll do a heal next turn if he hasn't died yet. We should be immune to death. Well, I will eat those words. Here I go, saying I should be immune to death to only immediately die to death. I thought it was protected from by the ribbon. It's very rare to see it hit. Well, it's fine. Alright, now for the reason that we did Whisperwind before Lifespring. Lifespring is the waterfall that we saw at the start of the run at some point. And the thing with the whirlpool, not waterfall, the whirlpool. And the thing is, we can't reach that by airship, we have to reach it by regular ship. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to pick up my regular ship again. And we are actually going to just dump the airship here, we're never going to use it again. We don't need the airship anymore. We've done everything we needed to do with the airship, so I will now sail to the whirlpool, which I will have to anyway. And rather than sail back, I will just sail towards the final dungeon, because it's faster to sail there than it is to sail back to the airship. I'm gonna use another cottage, and then it is time for us to go into Lifespring Grotto. So once again, random order, random spawns. This one has a lot of water floors. It has 3 of these, of the Chaos Shrine floors. The 3 Chaos Shrine floors should be the easiest to recognize. They're quite distinctly different. The water floors is where I'm going to struggle. I can tell you now I will struggle with the water floors a little bit. This could be 2 of them. And I think I'm going the wrong way. I'm suspecting that I chose the wrong one. Something happened to the game audio? Really? Is it still a thing? Because everything looks normal from my perspective. No, I did go to the right one. Good. Really garbled now? Can you, just for my sake, refresh the stream for me? Just to see that it's not on your end? It could be, mind you. It could be. Super crunchy? Oh, okay. Okay, let me try something. Chat, give me a minute. You're gonna hear the game twice for a moment. Oh, I hear it. Now it might be very quiet, but I'll turn it up in a moment. Alright, let me know how this is. Hopefully that sorted out the weird audio glitch. I have no idea why that happened. Okay, we got the worst possible spawn on this floor. That's okay. This sounds better. How's the audio balancing? Is the balance still okay? Because I kind of had to eyeball it a little bit just now. Because what I've done is I've routed the audio different. I'm now routing the audio through my mixer instead of through OBS directly. So if it's a little too quiet, please let me know, because I can turn it up more. Or if it's a little too loud, I can turn it down just the same. Volume sounds fine? Alright. Glad it is. Sorry for the little jump there. That was me misclicking. I was trying to click away from it and clicked at the wrong place. Alright, there's only one of these floors, so this one's pretty easy for me to recognize. We've been getting some bad spawns, but at least I'm recognizing them. This one should be able to get in there through here. Not sure if I immediately know which floor this is. Maybe that one? Yes, it's this one. Okay, I know which floor it is. I only took a very minor detour. That's a spawn I haven't had in a while, so didn't immediately recognize it, but that's okay. Alright, time for the next boss fight. This is Atomos. First and foremost, let's ether you. Let's heal. I will save. This is Atomos. Atomos usually isn't a very difficult fight. Like, Faraga can hurt, but because of the ribbon, we do have some resistance, so it's not as bad. But it is still hurting more than I would like it to. I'll throw a Hilaga in there. Make sure that we're fully healed again. Good thing too, because I will need to do that again. Wormhole. Doesn't do anything. Alright. Atomo's down. This is where we get the Judgment Staff. You know, the staff that we've had since the very first dungeon of the game. Yeah, this is where you're supposed to get them. Okay, this is the good spawn. I recognize that one right away. A little unfortunate that we got an unrunnable encounter, but at least we got the good spawn, so it's not as bad. Okay, dancer floor. This one was guaranteed to happen. The exact one you get is a little random, and we got the worst one of the two, but even getting the bad one of the two is really not that big of an issue. Here we're just kind of stuck in a traffic jam for a little while because these dancers are dancing around. And then for this, I think we got the better one of the two, but this one is the more annoying one. In theory, the better one. Alright, let's see how many dragons we need. We need 1 silver, 2 white, 2 red. Okay, so it's just 2 white and 2 red dragons. This is a great opportunity for me to get some extra experience, which I will need. But I don't actually mind having to kill a bunch of the dragons. This is the... It's like Bahamut's Trial. You get a random set of dragons that you need to kill. There's 3 of each. Their start spawn is always the same, but I don't know the start spawns. There was a point in time that I did, but I haven't for a long time. The good thing about this place is it's a great place to grind some experience, which we will want while progressing the game still. Yeah, 1 white, 2 red left. Okay. I appreciate you helping me keep track. Yeah, 3 of each. We'll just go until we've killed enough of them, and we'll enjoy getting the extra experience along the way. Alright, just 2 red dragons to go. That concludes the white dragons. We already concluded the silvers. Like, we can genuinely use any and all experience, or any and all HP I can get, so every level up is beneficial. The next, or at the end of this dungeon, we fight one of the hardest bosses in the game. Arguably the second hardest in the run. I'll heal it off because I'm a little scared of the holy dragons. Still don't have enough MP to cast haste with Scion. That's really annoying. I really would have wanted at this point for both of them to have a minimum of 15 MP. In this case, Scion and Lone. Because it would give me enough that both of them would be able to cast haste. But Scion's only at 11. Where are the red dragons? There's supposed to be 3 of them. Okay, this is the last holy dragon. We've killed all 3 of them at this point. Okay, that's 1 red dragon. They do all look red. You're not wrong there. There we go. Okay, that should be the last one. Okay, and we have enough MP on Scion now, which is great. Now both of them can use haste. Okay. Wait, I'm going the wrong way. I'm going the wrong way. I know it's at the top right. I just don't remember the path from this spawn. Like, I recognized which floor it was right away, not the path to the stairs. Which is okay. That is okay. Okay, this one can be very quick or very slow. It is one of the random doors will lead me to the next floor. It's impossible to know which one. Just gotta try them all, roll them out one by one. I took a not the best path there, I think. Okay. Not that one. Not that one. That one. No, it is not this way. It is this way, and then this way. I realized it couldn't be up because I've already had that floor. I know I have this one. I have the shimmering floor, the shimmering tiles floor. I'm missing at least one water floor where the exit is in the bottom right. That should be it. Yeah, then the next one has the exit in the bottom right. Right, and this will be a water floor. I just gotta navigate to the bottom right. I know I have to go through the left to get to the right. But I don't exactly remember how to get to the bottom left from this spawn specifically. Like, I know exactly where the stairs are in this one, and that might be the more frustrating part when you know where the stairs are. Like, I knew where the stairs are before I even entered the floor, but I don't know the path to them. That feels a little silly, you know, when you know exactly where the stairs are, but you don't know how to get to the stairs. Okay, I must have been going the right way at the start then. I was. Okay, that's fine. We go left here, then down, then right. That gets us to the stairs. And then the next floor will be Shinryu. Shinryu is one of the hardest fights in the game. But more importantly, once we've beaten Shinryu, we are going to enter the hardest dungeon in the game, and the last bonus dungeon of the game. We will have done all of the bonus dungeons that are also in the GBA version, and we've only got the PSP exclusive one left. Very exciting. Alright, I'm gonna have to heal and save before this fight, because this fight sucks. Nope. First, this is where we really have to do the Lordly Rope strats again. Alright. Arguably the hardest fight in the game. Second hardest fight in the game. I won't call it the hardest, it's not. There's one more difficult one. Thunderbolt. If we survive, we should be okay. We do? That's a good start. Like, this is a good turn one. That's a good turn two. Okay, that makes me pretty confident we can do this now. Tidal Wave, that's fine. See, on the first turn, that would have killed me. This guy has 30,000 HP, by the way. So, we just dealt about 1,000. It's 3, 7, 8. Wait, no, that doesn't check out. 6. Sorry, 7. Yeah, 7. 7,000 damage is about what we did. This is the move that I was scared of on the first turn. This is his strongest attack. You can see how strong it is. 9, 10, 12. Oh, 2 in a row. This could be bad now. This could actually be a problem. 2 in a row. Oof. I mean, he's halfway through his health already, so I kind of want to try to salvage this. Tidal Wave I should survive, and that means I can revive a character here. Nope, never mind. Okay, that's really unfortunate. We were in such a good position, too. Wait, hold on. There's one more thing I can do. There's one more thing, because there is one thing that I forgot that would have probably saved me. That would have probably saved me had I done that. Okay, that's really unfortunate. That's a really unfortunate death. Okay, at least that's a good turn 1 again. Okay, at least the first 2 turns on this fight have been good. It's a little unfortunate, that death. That was a very painful death, but I should be okay still. Flare just does so much damage. It's not even funny. Like, look at that, 600 damage. Insane. Yeah, I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna play it safe and do another round of these. I'm just scared that I'm going to lose another time, and if I lose again, then it might become a little dicey. Another flare. Well, we have enough health to tank it now. Let's go chip away at his health. He doesn't have that much health, so let's just go chip away at it and hopefully we win. Okay, I'm glad I went for the safety of giving myself even more health. And with it, slightly higher regen. We regen 10% of my HP every turn through the Lordly Ropes. That's just to top up the amount of healing that the White Mage can't do. Alright, everybody back to full. He's really trying to take me down, isn't he? This Shinryu. I'm running very low on MP with my White Mage, but I should be close to a kill now. Probably this turn. Maybe next. Okay, not this turn. I don't have enough MP to do another Hilaga. Okay, I'm gonna have to Ether, attack, and I'll use a Hilara instead. Okay, we got him. Alright, 2 more dungeons to go. The next one's the Labyrinth of Time. That is by far the hardest dungeon in the game. So what we're going to do is we're going to sail to the final dungeon of the game, the final building. That is also where the last bonus dungeon is, so we get a 2-for-1 there. I will then, right before going in, I will use a cottage, and I will save the game. In that dungeon, I cannot save, and that's probably the thing that's going to make it the most difficult, because it is the only bonus dungeon in the game that I cannot save in, which also means that I'm going to have to do the boss there in a single try. If we die, we die. We just go to the end boss, and that's that. In that case, I'm just going to notify them, hey, you know, expect about 15 minutes left. We're entering the final dungeon now. Now, we should get to the boss at least, which is going to take like half an hour by itself. Like, we're still looking like we're going to be pretty close to estimate. I think I'm currently at a 3:45 pace, but the Labyrinth of Time can change that a little bit. Right, so here's how the Labyrinth of Time works. The Labyrinth of Time is the last bonus dungeon in the game, and it gives you, at the start of every floor, it gives you certain abilities that you're going to, certain debuffs, certain things you can't do. And that gives you time, and that's how much time you have to do that particular floor. If you succeed, you get the blue exit, which is the one we want. If you fail, you get the red exit. You do that, assuming you get all blues, 7 times. And if you, after that, you get the boss fight. Some of them are really fast, some of them take forever. We really have certain ones that we want to see. They're split up into categories, and so I can kind of figure out which floor it is right as I'm trying to get there. There is one, Slay or Be Slain, that I really do not want to see. No, it's not Slay or Be Slain. It's another one. We call it the Dragon Puzzle for short. The Dragon Puzzle is the one we don't want. Okay, we start with Modern Maze. We always do. Select one of 3, so it's either Fairy's Frolic or Fairy's Farce. I'm going to say no items. This is one of the very short ones, so that's a good one to start. Alright. Here we're going to see a dancing fairy. And then we have to select which of the fairies does the same dance move. So I got to look at it. Right, left, up, right, down. Right, left, up, right, down. Now we get 5 options. We just have to pick the correct one. This one. So that's the first puzzle. This is the fastest floor you can get, pretty much. Certainly up there as one of the fastest. It should be March of Souls or Scavenger Hunt. No item should do. Okay, it's March of Souls. This means I'm gonna grab my notepad. Chat, feel free to chime in on this one. We're gonna get a sequence of characters walking past, and after that sequence of characters, I'm going to get 3 questions. And I have to get all 3 of them right. Now, there's actually only a couple of lists that it can be. Actually, I have the lists here. I did manage to find it this time. Okay, let's start it. Let's look at the start of this. Dwarf, broom, pirate, mermaid, fairy. Okay. Not this one. Dwarf, broom, pirate. It's this one. Which one was last in line? That was a dragon. The bat was in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th position. Number 7 was an elf. There we go. Blue seal's been broken. That's our second puzzle done. So this is how it's going to work. We have to do 7 of them. Some of them are fine. Like, this one's fine. Some of them we really don't want to see. Medieval Dungeon. Medieval Dungeon, they're kind of all fine. Medieval Dungeon 2, that's Labyrinth of Darkness or Path of Light? I can do no magic. That's fine. I don't really need magic for either of them. That has me suspect it's Path of Light. No, it's Labyrinth of Darkness. Alright. The Labyrinth of Darkness is we get a really dark maze that we need to clear. The good thing about this maze is there's no encounters here, so... Nope, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, I took a wrong turn somewhere. Okay, that's correct. What the heck? Okay, chat, hold on. I gotta focus for a moment, because I took a wrong turn somewhere, and I'm not sure where. Because I feel like I've already walked to this part, right? But worst case, we go back to the drawing board, you know? We just go back to the start, and we will figure it out from there. We will. Okay. Let's calm down. We still have 3 minutes to do this. I do have to do it within the time, otherwise I might have a bit of a problem. Follow the left hand. Follow the left hand. Follow the left hand. I think that's the one that I missed earlier. Okay, we lost a minute or two because of me getting a little lost here. Just frustrating, but I think we found the path back, so... At least we won't lose the run over it. That's where the treasure is. Great. Okay, let's get out of here. This took me longer than it really should have. Okay, well, bit of a time waste. We lost a few minutes here by me getting a little lost in the maze. Normally I do a little better on that maze. Oh, attack, 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 attack. But, you know, sometimes you just have one of those moments where it just doesn't work out. I just missed a turn somewhere. Okay. Still Medieval Dungeon. Medieval Dungeon 1. This is the Guardian. No item should do. The Guardian is a short one, so that's good. Oh well, actually I say that. The Guardian can be a short one. So here's how the Guardian works. There's dragons running around in this maze, and there are 3 treasure chests. My goal will be to pick up the one that has the exit. Except every time I get spotted, like so, I get sent back to the start. If it's the first one, I should be able, because I was right there near the first one already. Come on. Start moving, please. Thank you. It's not the first one. That sucks. It's the second one. Okay, if it's the second one, we're fine. It's the third one that's really annoying to reach. Not in the least because I didn't remember the path to the third one. I remembered the path to the first 2. So, I'm glad it's not that last one. Well, blue seal's been broken, now I just gotta walk to the exit. The walk to the exit is a bit of a lengthy one. But other than that, this should be fine. We all hanging in there still, chat? You guys still having fun? Still awake? Yeah, look, same here. 6:30 a.m. here. Thankfully, tomorrow is Saturday, and well, today, I guess, is Saturday, and I have a long weekend. Yeah, I'm starting to see the first light slowly creep out. Okay, Original Chaos. This is where the scary ones are. Original Chaos 4, that's watching... Oh, that's marching... Ooh. It could be Note for Note or Path to Peace. Okay, this could be bad. I'm gonna no items, intelligence halved. The fact that it's so little time has me think it might be Note for Note. This one scares me. I'll be real. This one scares me. Because this could be marching orders. Marching orders is one of my worst ones. The other is Path to Peace, which I believe is also an awful one. It's marching orders. Okay. Chat, have to be very honest with you. This is one of my... This is a very fast one. If you know what you're doing. This is one of my worst ones. One of my 2 worst ones. So here's the thing. You have to march in order. And he's randomly going to stop. Okay, I'm gonna have to put dash back on. I'm too slow otherwise. That's what tends to happen. This is why I said this is one of my worst ones. I hate this one. There were 2 puzzles I was really hoping not to get. This was one of them. I always click too much. Okay, we're halfway. No. We were so close too. Okay, I gotta lock in. I clicked slightly too late. That one wasn't even me. That was just a double input. I'm sorry that you guys have to see me fail like this, chat. We still have time. We can still do this. For crying out loud, I hate it when I get an extra input when I don't want it. It doesn't help that I'm starting to stress myself out here over this one. And that's causing me to make more mistakes. If I get the red seal, I'm going to be a little upset. It gets harder if you have to do this in red too. I would have clicked too far if he hadn't stopped with the text box. So close. Chat, please ignore my incompetence on this one. I'm only gonna get a couple more attempts at this. It's really unfortunate because this one's really rare to get in a run. This might be my last attempt. I have like time for one more good attempt. Yep, no, I'm not gonna get blue seal anymore. I still got time to try a little bit more, but I don't have that much time left. This is now getting significantly worse. Now encounters can show up while I'm trying to do the puzzle. I'll give it like 5 more minutes. If I don't have it by then, we might just go into the final dungeon. I hate this puzzle so much. This is honestly my worst puzzle by far. I'm so sorry for giving you for not showing this properly, chat. I'm so sorry. What? He hadn't whistled yet. He was so slow on the whistle that time. Unfortunately, even when it's the red seal, you still have to complete the puzzle. Yeah, this is not a puzzle to do at 6 a.m. when you have had like 2 hours of sleep. Well, at least I finished it. We are not going to make estimate anymore. As you might imagine, any chance of estimate at this point is gone. I might even have to do an extra puzzle because of it. If we get Dragon Puzzle, I'm gonna be upset. Let's just say that. I think that's my first time getting a red seal in an whole Dungeons run. I feel a little embarrassed about this. Let's do no magic. For a second there, I was like, wait, what the heck? Which puzzle is this? But, okay, this one's fine. This is just a block pushing exercise. The way this one works is you just push the blocks together, and then when they meet, they cancel each other out. I maybe should have given myself a little bit more time than I did. Because I am running a little short on time. I should have enough time, mind you. I should have enough. Unfortunately, I did get a bit of an unlucky composition of the statues. There are faster ways that they can be laid out. Now, at the end of the day, this is a relatively quick puzzle compared to most, so it'll have to do. And it does, like, the fact that we got a red seal does mean that the Crrool version that I'm fighting is actually going to be a little bit weaker. Like, I'm gonna get a little bit of a weaker boss in this dungeon because I failed the marching orders so poorly. Now, that time save is gonna be minimal compared to the time loss that I had on marching order. Alright, blue seal. Now I just gotta get out of this one. Yeah, we're losing even more time on this one. I'm not feeling good about this anymore. Not feeling good about this run. Like, the time now doesn't really matter anymore because I've already cleared the seal. So if I run out of time now, it wouldn't have been an issue. Okay, Netherworld Crypt has is going to be the next one. Seven more. I'll do no recovery items, no attack. Oh, I can't. I can only do one of them. And I'll do intelligence halved. That gives me enough time for sure. There's three possible puzzles this can be. And I'm hoping it's step by step. I don't immediately recognize which floor it even is, which isn't a good start. I do have to get to the start of the puzzle. Oh, it's this one. Okay. I can do this one. I think the dragons were in the top left. Let's start with those. This isn't the fastest puzzle. At this point, well, we're gonna go like 5 to 10 minutes over estimate. That's just how it's gonna be. So it's another pushing puzzle. The way that this one works is there's a bunch of monsters to start with. Every single time that I have connected two statues, all of the monsters of that type are going to disappear. So once these dragon statues disappear, all of the dragons will be gone. The same will be true for the vampires once I've connected the bats, and for the knockers once I've connected the human statues. This one's going to be in the top right. So this is one of those puzzles that just gets easier the further you are. That's all the bats gone. Now I gotta find the other statue of the humanoid. Over there. Alright, Lucille on this one. I hope that was the last one. I hope we can still do it in 7 puzzles. Because here's the thing. I think this one might be unrunnable, actually. Before I do anything else, let's... Okay, it's not. Pretty sure one of these paths is the one that leads to the exit. I hope I took the right one. I did. At least I remember that still. Yeah, I have to do an extra puzzle. Oh wait, no. Let's do that and intelligence halved. So here's the thing. Because I got a red seal, I now have to do an extra puzzle. As an added insult to injury. At least this seems to be... If this is the one I think it is, this is one of the fastest ones, and a very useful one. So it could be worse, but yeah, we are... Not only not going to get the start the Chronodia one yet, we have to do this extra puzzle. Now, this is one of the Warmech floors. If you remember earlier on in the game, I said that Warmech is the highest experience yielding encounter in the game. This is Warmech. I don't like that he ambushed me. I do not have my inventory sorted. So the good thing is it means we get some extra levels here. I'm still going to try to get through this with not fighting too many of them. And I will have to occasionally heal a little bit through items. These guys are genuinely dangerous. Okay, we took out 2 extra. Like I said, this is one of the fastest puzzles. We could have just gotten this instead of marching orders and we would have been fine. But yeah, we had to do an extra because we failed one of them. Now we should get to Crrool, right? Yeah, we do get to Crrool now. We'll get one version weaker of Crrool, but at least I can show off the boss fight. So, ladies and gentlemen, the boss of the final bonus dungeon. This is actually a really interesting boss. The way that this boss works is every 4 turns, it will lock one of your abilities, which is either attack, item, or magic, for 3 turns. Okay, well, first we have to set up. We do have a bit of setting up to do. Lazaga, I think, is fine for it to start with. So this is the 2nd strongest version of Crrool. Since we failed one puzzle, we get the 2nd strongest instead of the strongest. Oh, that's not great. That's really not good. It's the least bad character to faint here. But I don't love it. At least the rest should be in a decent state now. So it could be worse. It could be worse. No. Phoenix down. Actually, I can haste, sure. I ought to up its HP too. Oh, we actually survived. I'm surprised we did. I wasn't expecting to survive that. Alright, we should get a seal now. I'm gonna do this. Both of those are hasted. I'm gonna haste you. I'm going to use a speed drink. Actually, no, I'll use a Giant's Tonic first still. Just to make sure that my HP is as high as I can make it. So that means that now for the next 3 turns, I'm locked out of one of my things, preferably not item. Magic is fine. Speed drink. Speed drink. Because this is why the rune staff is such a good item, because the rune staff will at least let me keep healing. It'll be Hilara instead of Hilaga, but generally speaking, that should be enough. A lot of the time, that's going to be enough. Ink, that's not going to do anything. I'll throw another speed drink on this one, and then I will do a strength tonic with both of them. And then I think I'm gonna see how much damage I'm gonna do on the next turn. Because I ought to start dealing damage now. I can still do speed drink, attack, attack, Moonstaff. The run is gonna go over estimate by like 5 minutes. I'm not gonna make estimate. I had a really bad labyrinth of time. This is the boss of the last bonus dungeon. After this, I just have the final dungeon left, which isn't that long a dungeon, but it's still gonna take a little bit. Okay, magic locked is good. No, actually, I'm gonna continue on speed drinks, attack, attack. Don't like flare here. Flare is a bad idea. Flare when magic is locked is a little scary. Because I just don't heal quite as much. Braga should be okay, I think. Yes. Much better. Good morning, Floa. You still have a little bit of time, Floa. This run is going over estimate. I had a really, really bad run today. Not in the least because I royally screwed. Like, I actually, like, the start of the run was really bad. Then I kind of made up for it in Lifespring and in Whisperwind Cove, 2 of the hardest bonus dungeons, and then I completely screwed up this bonus dungeon. I'm glad you... I get a slightly weaker Cronodia, but the difference is so small, it makes almost no difference. Mind you, it's only going to go over by a couple of minutes. I should be like 5 minutes over estimate, give or take. If that. But you have a little bit of time. Okay, I really need him to not seal attack here. Anything else is fine, but if he seals attack here, I might be annoyed. Okay, magic sealed, that's fine. Okay, this is where Cronodia gets scary. Once it's hasted, it has an opportunity to start one-shotting party members. So I really need to get as much damage in as I can now, because I do not have a lot of time left before he starts wiping me. Poison gas is fine. I can live that. This is what I mean with he starts dealing insane damage. Yeah, I'm not surprised that the knight was going to die here. I just hope that I'm close enough to a kill. Because I shouldn't be too far off of a kill. I could have gone for the heal here. Okay, I'm glad I didn't. Alright, that was Cronodia. the final bonus dungeon boss. At this point, we only have the... Oh! Barbarian sword? Okay, chat, something here is confusing because that was the strongest version of Crrool. Somehow we still got the strongest version of Crrool despite getting a loss somewhere. 44 minutes is atrocious for Labyrinth of Time. For reference, my average Labyrinth of Time is like between 25 and 30 minutes. I lost 15 minutes in that dungeon compared to my average. Usually I'm in the like 28, 29 minutes. A little bit over 30 is still very possible if I don't get amazing puzzles. But like under 35, I definitely lost at least 10 minutes in that dungeon. But that was the strongest version of Crrool. I did not actually get a weaker version of it. It must have been because of when I got the red seal. Depending on when you get it, you might get a stronger or a weaker version. I was curious about it because the Crrool didn't look any different, and the different Crrool versions do have a slightly different sprite. So I was curious what was going on there, but apparently nothing was going on. That was just the strongest version of Crrool. Anyway, so this is the final dungeon. To catch you up on what happened story-wise is, now that we've collected the Light of the Four Crystals, we are going to, or we have gone back to the very first dungeon in the game. We used the light there, and we traveled 2,000 years into the past. So we're actually in the past now. We've time traveled. This is the first mini-boss here. And remember that loot that we got at the start of the game? That I was like, you know, you can't miss it in this version, but in other versions you can. Yeah, this is where you need to use it. This is where you use the loot, and with that we can now go all the way down to B5F, which is where the boss is going to be. On the way, we're going to be fighting all of the 4 elemental fiends again. Okay, this sucks. Do I have the gauntlets? I do. This encounter is always a pain. I don't like this one. Do we pick up the Mass Immune? No, we will not. The Barbarian Sword's way stronger. Well, you know, the game already knows that we're going over estimate, so now it's just throwing all the worst encounters at me again. Alright, Chaos' Shrine 1F. Like I said, B5F is where the final boss is. So we have a couple more floors to do. Well, that, really. As it stands, Freddy, this should be about a 353 to 355. Depending on the encounters I get along the way, which up to this point have been quite bad. But that isn't necessary, and on how the final boss goes, of course. But that's about the range that I'm looking at right now. This is another unrunnable encounter. These are the Earth Elementals. We're gonna just have to defeat them. Yeah, basically, we go through the final dungeon. We are way stronger than what you're supposed to be. Like in any percent, we have we're way lower level than we are now. So, like generally speaking, this final dungeon is considered to be a bit of a victory lap. It can still lose me time just because of the encounters. There's a lot of unrunnables throughout this dungeon, and whenever I get them, I just lose a little bit of time. Like with these earth elementals, so like I have to defeat them because I can't run away from them. And at this point, the added experience doesn't really give me any benefits anymore. That's an ambush. Unlucky. Alright, this is the next boss. This is the Lich again. Now this Lich does have some very strong moves. He has Flare, for starters, which in any percent can actually be a problem, but in all dungeons and all bosses, like we're so over-leveled that this fight's completely free. B2. This is where we will fight the Fire Dungeon. Or the Fire Fiend. Basically, we all fight the 4 elemental fiends again, but just stronger versions of them. But at this point in the game, they're still not particularly strong. Also, Freddy, since I have your attention for a second, I don't know if this was in the tech doc, but you might want to restart the stream after my run. Because we are coming up on 48 hours, I believe. Just wouldn't want the run to get cut in half, you know. You got poked about it? Fair enough. Alright. Here's Merilith, the Fiend of Fire. Once again, very simple fight. I can announce it on my way out. Yeah, of course. Alright, this is the longest floor we have left. This is where we will fight the Fiend of Water again, the Kraken. And also a floor that has a fair chance of an unrunnable. This is the unrunnable. I actually hope that the gauntlets are strong enough. They might not be. No, they're not. Okay, great. Well, we'll have to do that again. I should have remembered that I needed to use the Judgment Staff here. They have 300 health, so I did about 260 with the gauntlet. So not quite enough for a one-shot. Alright, here we go. The Fiend of Water, Kraken. At least the last few floors have been going decently well. B4F, this is a pretty short floor. This is where we will fight the Fiend of Wind, the last of the 4 elemental fiends, and then it's just the final boss left. As a little heads up, Freddy, the final boss doesn't take very long in this game. Maybe like 2 minutes at most, and a time will come relatively sudden. For everybody else, the final boss has 20,000 HP. That's what we gotta whittle down. I will try to do my best to count along the way. And you will hear me count up from 0 to 20. Once we hit 20, that should be when the boss is dead. And I'll try to count it out. I might be off because I'm just counting the thousands, basically. Alright, let's save the game one more time. I don't really need to, honestly, but... This is Garland. Remember Garland? He was the very first boss of the game. We actually killed Garland, but he's still alive in the past. And basically what we've been doing is he's been dying in the present, but right before dying or something along those lines. Traveling 2,000 years into the past, sending the fiends into the future, and making sure that we're sort of in a time loop. Every time we come here and he kills us, and that time loop has been ongoing for a fair while now. So basically, 2,000 years ago, he would send the fiends into the future. We would then stop the fiends. We would travel back into the past. He would kill us, and therefore sending the fiends again. And we've been in this time loop for a long time. And I've already lost count because I was trying to explain the story here. Actually, no, we haven't dealt any damage yet. We're dealing damage now. So, 2.5. 4. At 20 is when he dies. And that's when time is. Time is immediate upon his death. So yeah, and now we gotta try to break out of that time loop. That's kind of the idea here. 5.5. 7.5. He is going for his slower attacks, which is a little annoying. 12.5k left. 9.5. 12. 14. 15.5. Next turn should be it. Time's coming up. Next hit or the one after. Of course he uses his slowest spell on me, Cyclone. Cyclone has the longest animation of all of his moves. Just to add insult to injury, you know? Time. What a horrible run. What a horrible run. That really did not go well. Please ignore the 5 minutes I lost on marching orders. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you still enjoyed this. That was not a good one. It really wasn't. It was 4 minutes over. It's fine. I hope you guys all enjoyed FF1. I will keep it brief here because I've already gone over my time. If you want to try out this game, FF1 PSP is one of the easiest RPGs to pick up. Literally the hardest thing to learn is just the where to go because of the equipment glitch. There's great tutorials out there. Definitely recommend trying it out. If you want to see more of me, you can follow me at twitch.tv/Crrool. But more importantly, follow this event, join the Discord, make sure you keep up with RPGSU. It's a great starting event. I'm really excited to see where it's going. I know that the organizers are putting in a ton of work to make this happen because Europe needs an RPG event of its own, especially this day and age where the only RPG in the world event in the world is getting harder and harder to reach. So make sure to follow, make sure to sub, make sure to join the Discord, make sure to submit next time the event comes along, because this event is going to be worth it. I promise you. I believe. I've been around the marathon scene for a long time, and I believe in this one. In a minute, when the intermission starts, the stream is going to get cut for a moment, so don't go anywhere. Just refresh it once that happens. That's because we're running into the 48 hours, so make sure to do that. And I think with that, Freddy, I'll give it back to you. Good luck on all the remaining runners. Enjoy the last day, and again, make sure to keep up with the event. This has got to happen. We got to make this happen.